So just in the sense of time, because I know we're gonna be calling, I'm gonna call this meeting order at 12:04?
Yeah.
All right. 12:04, call the meeting to order. With that being said, start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I guess from there, we'll make a roll call.
Victoria, roll call. Victoria.
Oh, there was a pen.
There's
The
plenty.
umbrella. Everything.
Elizabeth Alonso, Villarreal,
Present.
George Narvaez,
Present.
Carlos Gordillo,
Present.
Hector Cortez,
Present.
Arturo Tomas Benavides, he's not running, Robert Joe Gilpin, not present, Jose D. Gonzalez,
Present.
and Dr. Carlos Valladolid.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, great. We'll go ahead and go with the minutes real quick. They were already sent out. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I move to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes. Hector Cortez?
Second.
Elizabeth? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Any citizens' comments? No, okay. I guess we're at now.
If I may make a motion to move up all the action items prior to the passenger activity reports and so forth.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead and move it. Sorry, with the action items. Sorry about
So we'll move ahead with the action item number 1. I'll have Victoria lead it.
Consideration to recommend to the Laredo City Council a motion to approve of the selection of the lowest responsible bidder for RFP fiscal year 22-030 real estate services and authorization to negotiate a contract for commercial real estate brokerage services for real property located in Webb County, Texas. 2 brokerages responded to RFP fiscal year 22-030, which sought proposal submissions from interested qualified licensed commercial real estate brokers to provide real estate consulting services for the airport. Proposals were evaluated and ranked by a selection committee. There is no cost involved in this part of the selection and negotiation process.
Mr. Chairman, if I may add, we were considering adding this item to the agenda right now, but to the council meeting agenda, we're not ready. We will be in we would like to get your approval from our recommendation to select one of the 2 companies and then start negotiating the process. We were not ready to go to council.
So you want a table?
No.
Or what?
We're ready to tell you the scoring we have. We had Exit Realty and Tere Santos Real Estate. We had a team here of the airport to evaluate both proposals. Exit Realty, best and final offer was a 5% on a 5 to 15 year term, and 4% anywhere from 6 to 30 year term. Tere Santos, it was 5% all gross together. We think the best proposal due to the quality of the proposal and the plan that they developed, and obviously that the cost is a little bit more. That we would like to recommend Exit Realty. Obviously, there's the cost factor in that they want in either a 5 or 4% of the total term lease, which could be 20 years, could be 30 years, depending on what they propose. That's the thing that we would like to negotiate before going to council. So
Okay.
Our recommendation is Exit. So if anything, we would like a motion to approve and start negotiating, and let us start negotiating with Exit Realty for future.
Question. Is it possible to include and I know this is gonna move you back 1 month, but none of this is included, this information is included in the report. So in order for us to make a more intelligent advisory, wouldn't that be a better choice? I mean, you already told us everything, but none of this is included here in the document.
I guess
Question?
yes and no. I know if it's in negotiation, it's
Yeah.
in negotiation still,
Okay.
but I was looking for that too.
Yeah, and
Uh,
we have the package here, but we were advised by our procurement
Right.
department that we were not allowed to, you can see it here, but we're not allowed to disclose this to the.
It's not public information.
It's not public
See it, but
It's-
then you go
Yeah,
back.
because of negotiations
Yeah,
and, but as long as,
And like I
We-
said, Exit came out with a better proposal, long-term proposal, and at the end, the rates were better with
Okay.
Exit. I mean, right now, obviously, we want to negotiate those rates, because we think it's expensive, but though, I mean, if you want something.
it's to get those
long-term-
buildings, to
Yeah,
produce
okay.
revenue, right?
Definitely.
That was my primary, reason for bringing
And,
this
and I
up.
agree with you because, I mean, if we wait a month, that's a month.
It's month that.
It's another month that we're adding on to.
That you needed, and you
So
can use
I'm
that.
only seeing the dark area of it, but if we need to proceed, it's up to us.
And then it'll be negotiated
Yeah,
still,
we'll be
yeah.
negotiating those 5% and 4% terms and for the duration of the lease, because obviously they want the money up front, and what happens if the tenant leaves in
Right,
3 years,
yeah.
4 years. So those are the
You need
things
to
that we're-
negotiate all
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So we'll come back to you with a
You're
final
muted. You can press
contract.
star 6 anytime
With
to
a final
unmute
proposal
yourself.
and
Okay.
contract after
You're being
negotiation.
asked to unmute yourself. To unmute, press star 6. You're being asked to unmute yourself. To unmute, press star 6. You're unmuted.
With that being said, is there any more discussion? Anybody like to make a motion on this?
Motion to approve?
This, second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to action item number 2.
Consideration to recommend to the Laredo City Council a ratification of the interim city manager's execution of all necessary documents granting a perpetual easement and right-of-way containing 205 and 13 square feet to AEP Texas Central Company to install and construct certain electric distribution facilities. Said easement would be located on a property legally described as tract 7.06830 acres more or less out of a 14.5 acre tract as per assignment and assumption of a ground lease between Crosset Development 1 LLC and 2310 Saunders LLC. Situated in Survey 799, Abstract 238, Original Laredo Town Tract, City of Laredo, Webb County, Texas, as recorded in volume 4,546, page 627, Webb County Official Records, out of Block 1, Laredo Airport, as recorded in volume 5, page 1, Webb County Public Records, as depicted in Exhibit A and B, providing for an effective date.
This is basically just we're granting the easement for the Starbucks that is getting built right next to IBC, not here at the airport.
Hey, it's on my way.
It's never worked.
Basically,
I was
we're
happy
just
when I
granting the
saw
easement for AP, that's all we're doing here on this one.
Yeah, it's a mystery easement, man, so common sense, I don't think there's much discussion on this, or should be. Motion?
Motion to approve.
Hector, second?
Second.
George? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes.
Just
Okay,
a
go ahead.
question, so Starbucks or whoever's gonna be there,
Yeah.
so there'll be some revenue derived to the airport from there, any commission,
Well,
anything?
Overall, it's part of the complex on the HEB complex,
Yeah.
so we get a percentage of all the sales at the end of the year, so it'll die out.
You're gonna get rich with
Sounds
me.
good.
That'd be a Starbucks.
Right?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move on to action item number 3.
Action item number 3, consideration to recommend to the Laredo City Council to authorize the interim city manager to execute a ground lease agreement between the City of Laredo as lessor and 270 Development Group as lessee on a 67-foot by 75 tract of land legally described as in 0.11 tract of land more or less out of the south part of Block 1, Laredo Airport Subdivision, 34.45 acres, conveyed to the City of Laredo, PID number 2455472, situated in the City of Laredo, Webb County, Texas, for the purposes of constructing and developing a concrete fuel containment pad of a size required by applicable regulatory agencies for the installation by lessee of at least 2 each 25,000 gallon capacity above ground fuel storage tanks and associated components upon the premises, and subleasing said improvements to Laredo Aviation Partners doing business as Millionaire. The occupancy lease term shall be for 30 years, commencing after the initial term is completed. The monthly rent shall be $208.50 and will be adjusted according to changes in the consumer price index. In addition to a base annual rent adjustment each 10th anniversary of the effective date based upon appraised fair market rental value of the premises. Lessee shall also be responsible to comply with fuel flowage fees and landing fees approved by the Laredo City Council and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Chairman, number 3 and number 4 are linked together. This is part of Millionaire, the new FBO that is coming. I'm glad to report that after, at least on my end, 6 months that I've been here, it's been 6 long and tiring months of negotiating back and forth with Millionaire, but I'm happy to report that it's finally a done deal. So ready to take it to council and ready to break ground over there and start all the process to have the new FBO here. Number 3 is for the fuel farm lease, and number 4 will be for the actual building of the FBO.
So 4 is the building.
You want to read it together, or?
I can read it.
Yeah, so we can go ahead and motion on both.
So action item number 4, consideration to recommend to the Laredo City Council to authorize the interim city manager to execute a ground lease agreement between the City of Laredo as lessor and 270 Development Group as lessee on a 3.627 acre tract of land. I'm sorry, that one's wrong. This was posted before it was amended. So it's actually 3.67 acre tract of land, legally described as a 157,992.1 square foot 3627 tract of land situated in the G, B, and C and GRR Coast Survey, abstract number 780, Webb County, Texas, being part of Block 1 of the Laredo Airport Subdivision as recorded in Volume 5, Page 1 of the Plat Records of Webb County, Texas, for the purposes of constructing and developing certain improvements which shall be subleased to fixed-based operator Laredo Aviation Partners doing business as Millionaire. Lessee at its own cost and expense shall use all commercially reasonable efforts to obtain all permits and approvals necessary to construct certain improvements upon the premises in accordance with the development agreement. The occupancy lease term shall be for 30 years, commencing after the initial term is completed. The monthly rent shall be $6,583 and shall be adjusted on each successive third anniversary of the occupancy term effective date by the percentage change in the consumer price index. The base annual rent shall be adjusted upward but not downward as of each 10th anniversary of the effective date to the then appraised fair market rental value of the premises, excluding any and all improvements thereon, and providing for an effective date.
So the CPI starts at the 3rd year? The increase, CPI increase, is that what normally on all leases, or was this a negotiation with this lease?
There was a negotiation with them. We went back and forth. We had initially they didn't have CPI on there. It was they had a cap at 3 or 5%, I can remember. We went back and forth, and that's what we got. So we want them here where they're gonna come, so we nobody got happy on the negotiation, that means it was a good negotiation.
Well, where is this? I know we used to have a map here. Where?
Right next to the fire station, right?
It is where the M&M Cargo used to be.
Okay, all right, okay.
So you said nobody was happy, but we all
Nobody's happy.
agreed.
But everybody's good, okay.
Because I look at some of the numbers, I'm like, but then you know what? It's already a negotiated deal. It's hard to renegotiate, you know. So the fact of the matter is, we're just an advisory committee, so we just go ahead and, you know, make a
It's
motion.
staff recommendation, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
transparent.
okay, motion to approve,
So make a motion to approve 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
3 and 4. That's Liz.
Yes.
George, second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes for item 3 and 4.
Mr. Chairman. Moving back up to staff report.
Can we go to the agenda items? There's still
Yeah.
three agenda items there.
Sure. Okay, on agenda item for March 21st, 2022 was a resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a consulting services contract agreement with Rafael Dueñas Sr., doing business as Remco Group, Incorporated, as the sole source provider. A total maximum amount of up to $67,500 in services and travel expenses to obtain consulting service necessary to seek for Laredo business development opportunities and potential investors in Mexico. The term of the consulting agreement will commence upon execution of this agreement and shall continue for 1 year. Funding will be available under the Airport and Bridge Fund. This item was not something that the airport or anyone here requested. It was thrown at us at the moment that it was executed, and I mean, all I can say, I mean, obviously, anyone who says that they don't need help in economic development, they're wrong. We do need help in economic development. Is this the right tool? I don't know. We shall find out. I mean, the funding will come from half from bridge and half from airport. Obviously, we do have some limitations, and every expense that is coming through us, I will personally review them and make sure that it qualifies as an authorized expense for the airport. And if not, we will not be paying any money that is not directly related to the airport.
So did this, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, question on this. Was this put up for bids
Yeah, I
or
was gonna
just,
ask, yeah.
was this given just to one particular individual? You said it was put up by by who?
Yeah, and it was, I basically found out on the staff meeting that this contract was already been assigned, and that we were the lucky winners and we were gonna pay for half of it.
And the only reason
So it's not staff recommends, it was
It was already on the agenda, and
from the
assuming
airport
it went-
managers,
it
the
went-
airport,
it
the
went-
city managers?
Yeah, it went through all the procurement process and everything.
And it passed?
It did pass.
When-
The only reason I ask is this is an individual that's just like me. He's a customs broker,
Yes.
but he's a Mexican customs broker, and he can represent himself. How is he going to benefit? Is he going to benefit himself, or is he going to benefit the city of Laredo? How are you going to gauge the benefit to the city of Laredo and not to himself? I mean, just a question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the terms of the contract. Like I said, I wasn't involved in any part of it. I mean, they just sent me the bill pretty much.
Based on us funding it, or when I say us, as the airport
Airport.
committee chair, I would like to sit to find out, do we have any kind of involvement on this and engaging this? Because the fact is, the money's coming from the funds that we're providing, in addition to the bridge. And I mean, there's, for travel expenses, you know, this is a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But I know the guy, I understand the process, but the fact of the matter is, I know that he also has his own clientele.
Yes.
You know, how is Laredo going to benefit, and how we're going to monitor and engage this? That's my question.
Yeah, and I totally get you, Mr. Chairman, and that's why I say I need to review every single, because it's on a reimbursement basis, so I will need to review every single expense that he submits. I mean, if he's going to, I don't know, San Miguel de Allende, that there's not even an airport there, like that. why, or how can we possibly justify paying something for that trip? I don't know.
There
Just
should be
making an
like
example, right?
a service, a scope of work,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just like the other
Yeah.
contractors, you know, the expectations, things like that.
Yeah, and the person that's gonna be administrating this contract will be Teclo Garcia from
Teclo
an
Garcia. Well,
Economic
maybe
Development
he
Department.
needs
So,
to-
I mean, like I said, we're just getting the bill, but we're not gonna pay unless it's something justifiable for FAA funds, obviously.
$67,000, a lot of money.
I agree with Mr. Gonzalez, because if I'm an attorney and I can bill my hourly wages and add whatever and puff it up. I mean, you see it on paper and you're like, okay, yeah, you did some documentation, some research, but $67,000, I mean,
It's hard to sit there and see how the city can benefit off one individual that's gonna be representing himself, and the entire city would be benefiting. I see him benefiting, I don't see the city benefiting. But that's just my personal comments, Mr.
Like I said, well, you know.
Well, maybe just for minute purposes, just for the record, you know, because it is an airport and we are held responsible. Just some, you know, if it could have been brought to, I mean, we're not gonna take any action, it already went through city council, but, you know, just as airport representatives, you know, we would like to see, you know, at least maybe Mr. Garcia could provide us with a written report, just you know, just to see how, or at least for him, or at least for Mr. Garcia to provide us with the scope of work that this 67,000 is going to encompass. That's to be transparent.
Also work because we review development opportunities with potential investors in Mexico and coordinating meetings with key governmental business leaders
That's the scope of on the resolution.
on the resolution.
You know what I mean, travel expense, I could sit there and say, it cost me this much to take the person out to eat, I traveled here, I mean, no, it's just a lot of, it's very, very vague and very.
Or maybe the
very-
procurement,
It is, I mean, all I can
Process.
say on my end, I mean, if something is gonna get paid out of airport funds, I will make sure that it's related to airport, and once that happens, I can report to you all if that ever happens.
So coming back to what we were talking about, and now that we are in session, I know that there's sometimes that items have been presented to city council prior to us reviewing, and we understand sometimes time is of the essence, there's contracts and things like that. But maybe if we could be notified of any airport items that we we didn't have time because of the time frame. Maybe if we could just be informed that way if we want to be present or make comments, you know, as airport
absolutely.
board representatives.
I mean, we're trying to do that to advise you all from if there's a meeting in between, well, after here, and there's another one before we meet again. My understanding was that we're letting you know of those items, and I will do a better job of letting you all know ahead of time of the council meeting, so you know, for the council that wanna make a comment or something that can possibly.
And council, they vote on this unanimously, or?
They vote on this unanimously. There was just one question by the mayor, asking the city manager if he was okay with it. He said yes, so everyone voted in favor.
Thank you.
There was a public comment against this from Mr. Poncho Caso. But, yeah, Poncho Caso was.
I didn't even see this on the agenda item.
But you see, that's why if we know of things, yeah, we can, okay. All right.
There was a public comment from the guests.
Thank you.
So item number 2 on this agenda is agenda item for March 21st, 2022. City Council meeting, a resolution authorizing the interim city manager to submit a grant application if offered to execute grant agreement with the U.S. Department of Transportation under the Small Community Air Development Program in the amount of $250,000 for airport marketing air service at the Laredo International Airport, and authorizing the interim city manager to execute all necessary documents resulting from the award. The city's local match in the amount of $7,500
$7,000.
is available in the airport operation fund and in the Conventions and Visitor Bureau, and providing for an effective date. This
Okay.
is just basically, we applied for a grant under the Small Community Air Development Service Program. The grant is for marketing services. It could be used for several things, but we decided to concentrate on marketing services because we try to get a commitment from an airline to open a route and guarantee revenue with this amount, but we couldn't get anyone to commit on that because right now they don't have pilots. That's the thing right now, that due to COVID, a whole bunch of pilots retire and they cannot get. They have planes, they don't have pilots now. That's the problem. I did had a conversation with Manuel and I had a conversation with Allegiant about bringing back the Orlando flight on the summer. They did show a little interest on that, so there might be a possibility there that we can explore later on. But then again, they didn't want to commit to a letter in support of the Orlando Laredo flight. But I mean, they're open to talk about it later on. So we basically we base all the grant in marketing efforts.
Okay.
So the other item is the agenda item for March 21st, 2022 City Council meeting, a resolution authorizing the interim city manager to submit a grant application and, if offered, to execute grant agreement with the Federal Aviation Administration under the airport terminal project in the amount of $20 million for the airport terminal improvement project at the Laredo International Airport, and authorizing the interim city manager to execute all necessary documents resulting from the award. The city's local match in the amount of $2.5 million is available in the airport operation fund, and provide an effective date. This is just a grant application that we submitted to fund the terminal expansion project. We ended up submitting for a little bit more than $20 million, but shooting for the
Hey,
star.
if we get 19 million.
Yeah, so it's just basically to complete the funding for the project. That's it.
Yeah, when is it scheduled? I know that there was the plans and everything. When is that gonna start?
I would like that to
Anything?
Mr. Navarra.
We're working on the design. It's about 30%, 40%. We are planning to go out on bids. The latest that we would like to go out on bid will be in September, October.
Mhm.
That's the plan. And if we finish the plan before, we'll go before that. But right now, the schedule is to go out on bid on September or October of 2022. And then they start the construction probably at the beginning of the 2023
Yeah.
because all the contracts,
Yeah.
and everything that needs to be done. And it will take approximately a year and a half to complete.
And let's hope there's building materials. We're building 3 houses and.
And if hopefully we're within budget. You know, all the cost of every material is going up.
Lock
The
the prices
The
in.
delivery times are, yeah, we'll give it to you, but in 6 months, and things
Yeah,
like that.
I
So
believe it.
It's gonna be a challenge.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting, but we're working very hard on that, and
Okay,
we'll get it done.
good.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can get some of this money.
And hopefully we'll get the money too.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Okay.
Next item is a status
Stop.
update on the noise exposure map. Public meeting held on March 16, 2022 at the Joe Guerra Public Library. Okay, and this one is the meeting we held for the noise exposure map. On this, I want to apologize that you all didn't get a notice. It was a miscommunication between my staff, but I'll make sure that doesn't happen again, that you all are advised of all the things airport happening at the moment. But I will like to say that we had a very good meeting. It was very well attended. I mean, 20 people, I think that's the most people they have had.
We broke the record.
You broke the record,
We
yes.
broke the record.
I remember.
Yeah, we broke the record.
Victoria has been blasted with phone calls. It's not even fun anymore. Even today, this morning, I think she was still answering the phone call from a constituent. The deadline to submit all the comments is Friday, I believe so. After that, we'll get all the package together and send it to FAA for approval, and then we'll come back to you all with the latest and approved map from FAA, and then we'll go to council. We'll have the consultant here to explain all the process. I mean, it's a very lengthy process that we understand. There's noise. There's noise everywhere, but unfortunately, we cannot just give away money from FAA. We have some guidelines and
Yeah.
requirements that we need to follow, and that's what Victoria has been explaining to most of the people. But it's important to get all the feedback so that way we can expand the contours and try to do something else for more people. We're here to help all the people that we can, but we need to follow
Right.
FAA guidelines. So that's that. There's anything else?
Go back to the minutes.
Go back to the minutes.
To the minutes?
Oh,
No, we
no,
approved
yeah,
the
we
minutes.
approved the
No,
minutes.
the
Comments.
passenger.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if you all want to make a motion to have Mr. Bañez present, move up the report for Mr. Bañez, or so he all can see.
Sure.
Yeah.
I make a motion if we can move up the update that David Bañez will be submitting.
Second?
It's actually Doug Bañez. I made a
Doug.
mistake.
Oh,
in,
Doug, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
So the first, second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposition? I guess we'll move forward.
How do I move in with
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon. Yeah, Doug Daniels here from Hubpoint Strategic Advisors. I'm the founder and managing director of the company. Some of you may know Hubpoint has been working with the city of Laredo and the airport for since about mid-2020. Obviously, with previously with Jeff and Elsie, have done some work on the cargo side, obviously, including with Peclo from Economic Development, and now pleased to be working with Gilberto and his team. We're happy, obviously, to also be back under contract and back to work. And I have a short couple of slides that will help me talk to some of the activities that we've done and some of the things that are coming up. So I'll see if I can share my screen, and we'll go from there.
He should be able to do
Yeah, you can share the screen.
That's something. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, yeah, just in terms of updates, we're really centered on air cargo marketing and development, and just to give an overview of the status of some of the data that we look at. This is the air freight tonnage at the airport going back to kind of pre-pandemic, early 2019 through the latest available data in October 2021. And I'll note that I think later in this meeting you will see a cargo report presented by staff. This is a different data set. That data is, I think, presented by staff is really all cargo landed weight, which is really a measure of air cargo aircraft activity. And this is really the tonnage on board those aircraft. So they tend to move in the same direction, but the numbers will be different because one is measuring aircraft weight versus the tonnage of the freight on board. So this is from the U.S. Department of Transportation, and really the message here is that things are trending in the right direction. They're recovering from the pandemic. You can see the kind of low point was May of 2020. A nice recovery in late 2020, early 2021, and we're still seeing some levels in October of 2021 that are well above what was experienced in October of 2019, before the pandemic started. So one way to look at this would be year-to-date, January to October of 2021 versus 2020 and 2019, and you can see Laredo is up 57% from the 2020 period, and then pre-pandemic already over 6% from before COVID. So I think that's a very positive sign that you may not even be seeing yet on the passenger side. Cargo is certainly an area of emphasis in these days with supply chain issues, and it looks from this data certainly that Laredo is recovered, and looking forward to moving forward with higher volumes and more activity on the cargo side. In terms of some of the activities that we've been working through and working against our scope of work, probably the most notable thing in recent months was that we attended in March of this year with our friends at APCO, who are the developers for Laredo of certain parcels. We attended jointly in support of Laredo and Gilberto, the conference in Miami, Air Cargo Americas, which is a cargo conference that is really focused on U.S. and Latin America ties and in the industry. A number of airlines and freight forwarders and others in the cargo community were present, and we had some very good meetings while we're there, all in the effort of promoting Laredo to the industry and looking to attract more services, not unlike what is being done on the passenger air service side. But again, very good meetings. I won't go through all these in detail, but I can tell you that one of the very interesting meetings we had was with a company called Amerijet. They're a large cargo airline based in Miami, and they are in a very aggressive expansion mode domestically and internationally, bringing on new aircraft. Turns out the people we had meetings with, one of them is very familiar with Laredo, has some friends here and some business dealings, and was very high on the potential of Amerijet having some additional operations at Laredo in the future. They've been a cargo charter operator at the airport for many years, but we're anticipating that they might be going into a more of a scheduled regular type of operation in the United States, and we're certainly promoting Laredo as a point of service for them as they expand. But also met with American Airlines Cargo. Obviously, the American is at the airport today. One of the senior vice presidents of Cargo was there, so we spent some time with him. Ameristar, another charter aircraft operator. Worldwide Flight Services is a ground handler that specializes in air cargo, and they're looking for expansion opportunities as well. So we did some follow-up already. Those follow-up conversations will continue, but it was a very positive event. It's good for HubPoint and APCO to spend some time with Gilberto and talk about plans moving forward. So again, a very positive event, and nice to be back in person. I think this was the first Air Cargo Americas conference in about 2 years. So it was well attended and had some good follow-up activities for us to pursue. And then just in terms of ongoing and upcoming air cargo activities, I just wanted to just go through some of these with you and give you a status update that some of the points that we're doing is conducting and research and analysis with relevant air cargo companies. Some of those were on the previous page, but many others, including several Mexican cargo airlines that we had spoken with over the past couple of years. On behalf of Laredo, we're refreshing our research and looking to perform outreach to companies like them and others. Obviously, tracking company strategic moves and industry trends, the supply chain issues, as I'm sure you all are very well aware of, continue. We've been seeing some things in the press about some of the issues at the bridges, and interestingly, while that may hurt the bridge business, we would anticipate that those types of things can potentially help the airport, where companies and shippers may be shifting some of their modes from surface transportation to air, including through Laredo International Airport. So be good to track what's happening in that realm, and obviously looking to take advantage of any opportunities that present themselves. With this research and analysis, and the ultimate goal would be to perform outreach to certain companies that we see as priorities, and promote air services and other activities related to cargo at Laredo International. On that, HubPoint and APCO are planning a joint visit to Laredo in mid-May. It's something that we'll be discussing with Gilberto and his group in the coming days, even more in terms of who we will be visiting and the objectives. But I think one thing, if you remember back to the scope of work, and the idea here is really to work very much in cooperation with APCO, HubPoint, APCO, the airport, the city, including TechLo at Economic Development. We're all kind of pulling in the same direction, and it makes sense to be coordinated in those efforts. And that brings me to the last point, which is there are Air Cargo Americas happened in March, but there are several other air cargo industry conferences and events coming up throughout the rest of the year. The fall is a big time for some additional events, and we know that there are certain conferences in Mexico, for example, related to the automotive industry, aerospace, and others. We would like to investigate the potential participation in those if it makes sense. But again, always looking for opportunities to promote and raise awareness of the capabilities of Laredo and the presence of the brand in the industry. So really, that's the update I wanted to share with you, and I'm happy to take any questions or address anything that you want to talk about further.
Thanks, Doug.
Trying to stop sharing my screen, so I'll figure that out.
Anybody have any questions or
Anything else?
add
Is
information?
that all good?
So when you all do go to these conferences and promote the airport, what is it that, do you also supply them like with a packet or something, or for the folks that are there, the potential businesses?
We do provide a list of all our landing fees, what we charge, and we make a comment about the FIS, trying to promote the FIS, the dual customs that we have here. Most of the people don't know about it, so I mean, we found out, like Doug can tell you, that we need to promote that more. There's a lot of people, most of the people don't know about all the benefits that they could have from using the dual customs that we have right here. But yeah, I mean, that's basically what we do. We're marketing agents out there.
And that we have buildings, you know, in case they need to relocate some people or something that, you know.
That was what APCO was there. I mean, they're trying to get somebody to come already in the development. They have plans, so I mean, it was a teamwork over there.
Good.
I know earlier you made reference that there's some budget money that you use for marketing. Are you also gonna allot some of that for the FIS inspection as well, or no? That was mentioned at the very beginning, that there was some funding that you were gonna.
Oh, the marketing. Oh, well, no, that was the grant. That's specifically for air service. For air service.
No.
Yeah. So that's.
It is a separate item. I know, but because I know that we're limited anyway, because there's only five types of products that can export here, and it's,
Yeah.
you have to get approval, so even if there's a knowledge of promoting this, there's still a process they have to go through, yeah, so.
And we've been having meetings with the Mexican Customs counterpart. They're interested in expanding more the program. Obviously, that needs to go to their Mexican counterparts in Mexico, the DF and all that. I mean, it's not as simple as, yeah, well, tomorrow we'll expand, but I mean, they're interested in the project right now. So at least that's what we got from our last meeting, and they're trying to schedule meeting with TSA to see what we can do better, and already contact them to let me know of any meetings that are scheduled so I can be part. So that obviously the Laredo International Airport is in the best position to help get that project going. If there's anything that we on our end can do to invest in there or something, to let me know so we can start working on that.
Taking into consideration this e-commerce boom, I think that we should go ahead and push a little bit harder if we can, so.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on to passenger report. You can see on your first page of the report, nice numbers. It's the first one with color and graph. Keep going. This one, yeah, that one. You all can see that we're starting off the year strong as compared to 2021. It's been a very good year so far with a 117% up from the employment people, and the plane also shows an 83% increase compared to last year. The numbers are good. We're trending on the right side. I mean, this will also be an impact of the migrants that we're still getting. You go down here and see all the people with your Manila folders. Those are the migrants that are flying through our airport. I just got a request from the Holding Institute to meet with the airlines to see what else can be done, because apparently the influx is gonna increase in the coming months or weeks. So that's something that we're still exploring to meet with them, observe that. Moving on to the cargo.
So
report.
these migrants get counted, even though it's government money, as part of the increase of this here. so.
Yes. We get a separate report from the regular passengers and migrants, whatever is considered. So the number, you might see an increase in the coming months. Moving on to the cargo report, we're also, as you say, well, it's no different from what Doug said. We're trending on the right track. You can see 106 million tons with a 22% increase. Surprisingly, we're not still yet from 2020, which started pretty good, but obviously last year was a better year overall. We're doing better than in the beginning of the year than last year, so we're expecting that number to keep growing. Moving on the FIS inspections, numbers are not as good as last year. It was particularly on March that it was a very busy year on 2021. This year was half of that, so that's what's making up the difference right now. And on the ANAM, which is the new name of the SAT or the aduanas in Mexico, still the numbers are lower, with a 21% decrease on that end.
So taking into consideration, we have that operation available, we're only doing like 21 crosses, 21 operations, so we have all this fully staffed with just 21 for that.
Yeah, the ANAM has been having some issues with their personnel. That's something on the Mexican side. I know a lot of the people that were there for years. They decided to retire because they had some issues with with the federal government that they weren't getting paid, something like that, something beyond our control. So they decided to retire. So right now they have basically new staff there. I mean, it's up to the president. I heard that they're supporting all the programs, but then also I hear that they're cutting costs on something else. So I mean, it's kind of, but that's from the Mexican government.
Have we heard of any comments that possibility of losing this? Because this is the only one in the nation.
Yes.
And looking at the numbers are dismal.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. That's why I think it's very important to start marketing and start making it seem that we need it and make more money.
Isn't this where this other consultant, that $67,000, could they market this? Is that in the same line? I mean, we need to market everything.
Yeah.
But
He can only market to certain individuals, and he has to target that area, like aeronautical, automotive, computers, and there's only 5 industries you could target.
and pardon my ignorance, but what is this ANAM for?
The acronym, I don't know what it stands for, but
No,
it went from a
what is-
military,
What is these operations for?
Mexican Customs and U.S. Customs.
Mexican,
They
okay.
do clearance here for both Mexican and U.S., so when it gets there, it should be free and clear. But they still get another second process when it gets over their destination. So it's still,
So maybe that's where
it's not, and the people that are using it are the big companies, you know, the Chryslers, and they're the ones with just-in-time shipments. So they do the clearance here, and then they go ahead and get to destination because they're approved. But then it's very limited to maybe 5 industries. In the automotive and the computer chips are the ones that really go after IBMs and automotive. So.
Okay.
So, and they want to expand those 5 industries according to them, but then again, I get all this feedback from that, they're not paying us, so that's what we have right now. So moving on to Federal Inspection Station FIS operations. Also, so far, last year was better for the private and air charter passengers. The total number you see at the bottom, we are pretty much at half of what we were last year. Well, the reason for that, I mean, can be vaccines. They're not need any more vaccines, so stopping, and obviously it's getting expensive with the gas. Also, it's getting more and more expensive. So moving on the operational side for these, we just talked about the total operations for this year so far is 2804, and for last year was 3914. So we're seeing almost a 29% decrease so far compared to last year. Again, I mean, there's might be several factors here, but basically it's on the cargo side, the company, the ANAM, it's not just providing.
Taking into consideration what's happening at the bridges right now, is there an increase in this that you've seen? Or, I mean, no, it won't be available for next month, but I'm taking consider
Maybe
there's a lot of,
maybe they're gonna use
they're
it,
gonna
yeah.
use the air, so.
Yeah, so.
That's a good advertising point.
Right now they're standing in lines over there, I don't know for how.
9 to
They
10
could have
hours.
cleared here and,
Every single truck.
Well, I mean, then we need to.
They put out 552 trucks, this is a couple of days ago,
Out of commission.
man, so.
Yep.
oh man.
How many?
552.
500, yeah.
And that, I mean, taking into consideration we have a shortage, so it's affecting our industry, so.
Yeah, but also, I mean, it's expensive to air travel, so it will be just for the big companies that need they need their product, they choose, or they auto parts, they need it faster, and the truck is stuck there, so, I mean, but it is good analysis there. On the fuel flow report, obviously, we wanna compare to the revenue stream, we do have an increase of $77,000 compared to 21, and almost 120,000 compared to 2020. the gallons are up, and obviously the price are up. So I mean, we're getting our 0.06 cents on that for every gallon that is sold. Moving on the delinquent report, well, I can say that I'm happy to say that it's not much, but it's $20,000 that we could use on something, and that doesn't stop our efforts to collect this money. You can see on the following page the emails we sent to the people that owe us money, and we will continue to do that and collect it as soon as we can.
You sent it in February and they're still, you all followed up in March. And hopefully they'll get the check by April, May.
It's coming out of Manuel checks, if anything. We'll give monthly installments, if anything.
Hey, we'll take payments.
I mean, good thing is only, I mean, I say only, but I mean, it's relevant, like 20,000.
It could be more.
A lot more,
Yeah.
but I mean, we're doing all
About
our
10 years
efforts.
ago, even when we first started, the list was this long. I remember that.
Yeah,
There
I
was about
remember.
15.
I remember.
15.
I remember.
It was rough.
Yeah,
It was bad.
that's very good. I mean,
Yeah.
you all have really
Yeah.
taken care of business on collections. Yes.
And that's basically all I have. I don't know if you all have any questions, suggestions, or any comments that you wanna tackle on next
You know what?
meeting.
This is the first month I've noticed that I usually get a calendar invite. I didn't get the calendar invite, man. Hopefully you guys can include it in this one.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
The reason was, I thought I sent it, I did not send
You
it.
didn't send a calendar invite? I said, I remember because I saw the notes and stuff, so.
I'll send it next time. The reason I didn't send it this time is because usually I would attach it, it would be through the scheduling through WebEx, but if you guys would prefer calendar invite every time, I can do that.
It helps me out my
It
calendar. It
helps.
helps so
Yeah.
much. You don't
Get us
know like
updated on the
that.
calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. At
Okay.
least we know what meetings I have. And I was like, that's why I came in. I said, is there a meeting? Because I didn't see it on my invite. Thanks.
And one for the whole year,
Yeah, okay.
Other than that, a motion to adjourn then.
Motion to adjourn.
Like second? George, okay, thanks. Appreciate that. Fast meeting.
Thank you.
We're doing.
Thank you so much.
1 hour.